Hey guys, so we had some questions about the difference of the low ready and the high ready and when we use either of the two positions. What's the benefits of a high ready? So many people haven't trained with this. So to go into a short explanation of this, this is low port. Okay, low port is a safe position. This would be high port. One of the times that we see the high port used a lot is especially when we're running suppressors, because when you start shooting a lot of ammo and the suppressor gets really hot, you get what's called a cook-off. And actually the heat being held in the barrel can get so hot that the round, even with the safety on, the trigger's never pulled and a round goes boom and it takes off just by heat from the pressure buildup. Okay? So many times you'll see guys running suppressors, right? They don't do a low port because a low port, you go to move around and you burn yourself with that suppressor on your thigh, or you burn the person next to you. And I know it's like, dude, come on. You don't have enough awareness that you're going to hit someone with your suppressor. Most people aren't used to having another 6 to 8 inches off the end of the barrel. So again, moving around, your gun's slung and it's flopping around on the sling. It might hit someone and burn something, right? Now they have those muzzle shrouds, or those shrouds that go over the suppressor so it doesn't hit anything and burn anything, right? But again, that's just a precautionary. It still doesn't protect against a cook-off. So a high port, right? This position might be for something like that. It might also be for something like you get on a boat or some kind of vessel, and you don't want to sink the boat if you ever had an accidental discharge, right? Or if you had something to where you don't want the barrel pointed down into whatever the structure is that you're on. It would be safer. If you're going to a helicopter or anything like that, you don't want the barrel up because the engine's above, the blades are above, so you have the muzzle down. So our situation many times dictates whether I'm in a high port or a low port. Low port, high port are safe positions. Okay? Our low ready is in a position that is here, and my buttstock is hooked in and ready to go, but the muzzle is just below my line of sight, right? But you can see if I turn, okay, my muzzle's sweeping the guys around me. For me to bring the muzzle all the way down with this still tucked in and actually having contact, especially with my gear on, I can only get down about this far. So in working in close proximity to my teammates or other people, right? In this case, a high ready, which is going to be here, is a high port. High ready, which is in front, I can still turn, and now I don't sweep my partners. So we go, okay, Rich, well, I'm not working with a team. Why would I use a high port when I'm just trying to protect my home? So when we look at this, we go, okay, if you have children and they're young children, how tall are they? Probably like this, right? When your children get scared, where do they run to? They run to you. So do I want my muzzle down like this while I'm looking around, right? Hey kids, come here, come here. And they're running up and trying to get on my legs and my muzzle is down right here in my kid's face. Or do I have my muzzle up, kids, come here, come here. And now I'm moving my kids and the muzzle's up like this. So again, just another example. One doesn't throw out the other. When we bring in the high ready, I'm not saying we don't use a low ready. Well, I'm not saying we don't use a low port. It's just now we have the option to do both. If I'm running my kids up the stairs, come on kids, let's go, let's go. And I just had a high ready, my kids come over and I'm running them up the staircase and they're in front of me, maybe this is where I transition over into a low. Whereas if I had them going down the staircase, I'm not going to use a low when I'm running them down the staircase ahead of me, right? In that case, I would have it high, all right? So then we get into the whole discussion of CQB, right? And this is a very, very controversial in people's training philosophies. Okay, I'm not saying one's right or wrong, right? I'm just saying when we pressure test this with a dude in a fight suit who's waiting for you, right? The high ready works much more of the time than not. So Lucas, let me borrow you real quick. So if Lucas was here, and let's say I come around the corner, right? And I'm turning a corner from a low ready, and I come through like this, and he pins the rifle, right? And pins into me. I have lots of options. People are like, oh, fucking pull your pistol and shoot him with your pistol. Yeah, I'm not saying we can't, right? I still have options to fight from here. There's still things I can do. You know, we're not out of the fight in this point. But if I come around the corner and I'm in this position, he goes to pin it, this is a much harder position to him to defend from, because even if I jolt the gun back and forth or rake my arms, he's getting hit potentially with all this stuff, and my hands are up. So if you go to bear hug me, I come around the corner, you bear hug me. Oh, it's pinned, okay? Again, I have options, I can fight, right? But when I'm framed like this, I come around the corner, bear hug me.
Nope.
He's running right into this, right? And because I have the frame, just try to, I'm not gonna push the gun out, just bear hug me. Try to bear hug. It's hard for him to even reach and solidify the bear hug because this is out. And then obviously I have this, right? You can shoot whatever you wanna do. So we have this option here from that standpoint of it. The last thing I'll touch on real quick is using something like this vehicle for cover, jumping over obstacles, anything like that. So if I go to drop down and use something that's really low like this for cover and I'm looking out this direction, right? When I jump into that kneeling position or whatever, and in this I'd have to do even a lower kneeling position or possibly even go into like a low squat or even a seated, right? The muzzle is more likely to jam into the ground, right? Than if I have the barrel up and I come into this position and now I have room to work with my legs. And this is just here. I can move however I need to move, transition to seated, come back up into that squat, stand up, and I don't have to move the muzzle or the gun at all through that. The downside is this position is much more fatiguing. So I pick and choose when I use it. If the threat isn't right here, or I have time, or I have space, maybe I go to the low ready, maybe I put a little weight into the sling, if it had a sling, right? And I can use this, and I can still come into these positions, but for me to navigate those same positions, this is just more awkward. Not that I can't do it, I can still do it. But if I'm walking for a long amount of time, if I'm running, I can still run like this, but you can see where running I can be kneeling or kneeing the barrel. So there's other techniques. We can bring the gun up. I can bring the gun up like this to run, and I'll do that sometimes. But the same concept, at this point, if I was running like that, I could still just run like this or run like this. You know what I mean? So just a couple quick topics of discussion on the high versus the low, right? The one last one there is, and then I'm done, I'll shut up, I promise. The one last one, this is kind of like a low ready, but some people would call this a center ready, and it's where you're like this, right? And you're kind of doing room entries and coming around the corner like this or like this, center, okay? If I'm working in a team environment, this position only really works if I'm the lead guy and my field of fire is 180 degrees in front of me. I can't go from here and turn around and go, hey guys, what's going on? Because I just sweep everybody. Whereas if I'm here like this, I can turn, hey guys, I can do a magazine change, I can do whatever I need to do and turn. If I'm in a low, right, I come here, I would hollow out so that I bring the muzzle down, or I can come down into a total low port. But this center fed, this mid or center ready, whatever you want to call it, right? This one is really only good if I'm the lead guy, because otherwise, if I'm trying to do magazine changes and turn to move, I sweep everyone when I do it. So that one is a very specific situation when we use that technique. The most common ones are going to be the low or the high ready, low and high port. Cool, hope that helps.